Hello and welcome to another day of the Global Littlewargame League 2024. I want to remind you once again of the map pool. Here it is. It's the ranked map pool with the addition of Thieves Isle. And today I'm going to be bringing you a match from the Beta League. Here's what it looks like before we start up. And today we're going to be looking at Python versus Diontep. And that's going to be our match for the Beta League quarterfinals today. Once again, I do not have the pick bands, unfortunately. And I do want to note that there were some disconnects, unfortunately, from the side of Diontep in our matches here. So just a heads up. And I'm sure this is going to be a really entertaining game. Python, someone who's been around since 2017-ish and recently back, mostly a Beast player, whereas Diontep is more of a Rax player. Has been around since approximately the Hearthstone tournament. So hopefully it'll be some entertaining matches. The first map is going to be Xenos, and let's hop straight into it. All right, spawning in the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's Diontep. And spawning in the top right-hand side of the map, it's Python. And I didn't reset this, so I will reset it right now. Sloppy. But that's okay. We'll pretend like that never happened, and we'll just continue on. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. We have Diontep going for an 8 house, so this is going to be slightly faster than normal, cutting a worker for a faster house, and also for, respectively, a faster production facility. Python going to go for it on 9 supply, which is a bit more standard, quote-unquote, a bit more economic. And we'll play a game from here. So Python is someone who likes to play Beast, more or less, and that's basically what he does every single game that I've seen from him. Also expect to see that from him. Diontep, also more of a Rax player, is probably going to play that. And we do see the Rax initially starting up for Diontep. Python going to throw down a den and sending another worker, so it looks like it's going to be a 2 den to start off from Python. Looks like we've seen a lot of 2 dens in the league so far. It's going to be really interesting to see if Diontep is going to have that control to defend against this. If you do go for Raiders, you're going to have some good Raider control to defend against it. Otherwise, if you go for something like Archers, you're going to have to pull workers. You're going to have to try to do a little bit of micro there as well. So we'll see how Diontep's micro is feeling today, and we'll see how up to the task he is. All right, this map, I've mentioned it previously, but a lot of kata drops sort of things are really good, especially because they can hit the third bases, the 2 potential third bases that you can take. And just breaking down the neutral buildings in the middle of the map, allowing some surrounds and stuff like that, some new attack paths, that sort of thing is generally good for Beast. Diontep having a little bit of internet connectivity issues. I've also been having a little bit of that, but that's okay. That's basically the main source of the issues with reconnects and having to have multiple games. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. We have these wolves going across the map. They're going to run into a raider, and we'll see how this goes. Good initial hit. Python going to pull back to his second wolf. So he is going to be able to, a little bit of a miss flash from Diontep. He is going to see that it is a 2 den. You should know once you see that second wolf being this early. And we'll see how Diontep reacts. So far, not the worst, not the best. Diontep going to throw down another Rax after seeing that. So it's going to be a 2 Rax, of course, a little bit delayed, but versus this 2 den. So generally, 2 Rax is really good, but if it's a little bit delayed like it is right now, it might be a little bit dicey. It's looking like it's going to be a pretty easy hold so far. Python are not doing the best picking his fights, I guess. Showing that second wolf a little bit early, tipping Diontep off, and also just taking some fights where he didn't really need to. Gonna pull back that one weakened worker. I mean, not worker, with the wolf, which is very nice. Probably needs to pull this one back as well. So far, it's a pretty good hold. Python did get that second house, is probably going to look to get a base in the future. No additional wolves coming in as of yet. So yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. And yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty nice hold here for Diontep. Does get a wolf there, and a lot of these wolves are very, very weak. So Python going to go actually continue building wolves. Okay, maybe he feels like it might be a little bit difficult for him to defend the counterattack, and that's why he's doing this. But okay. Diontep throwing down another house. So this is going to be his third house before the castle. I do feel like maybe this isn't as necessary, especially with how well things have been going for Diontep. So far, a single wolf. Oh, that is a very big mistake out of Diontep. Losing that raider is pretty huge. And I think Python, that's an opportunity for him to just walk in and try to target down those weakened raiders. Is going to play a little bit passive, doesn't want to get run into a choke, I guess, which is fair enough. But yeah, we have a castle on the way for Python, so he's satisfied with the amount of damage he has done. I think that is a good idea. He's going to try to come in and probably try to snipe this weakened raider. It does have flashes though, so it won't be the end of the world here. He's going to be able to survive more or less. Does need to be a little bit careful. It looks like those wolves coming in without the support of the rest of the units here. I think they were just right-clicked and they auto-targeted onto those units. Looks like Diontep going to try to throw down a base at the moment. No, just... Okay, there we go. So natural base coming down for Diontep. It's going to be a little bit late for sure. Python is almost complete, but so far it's not looking too bad. Doesn't need to flash that out. A little bit late on the flash does mean he's going to lose a raider. So Python just targeting down another archer. So the initial stages of the build here were pretty good. Like, they were pretty good for Diontep, but losing that raider, losing another raider and an archer as well, because it was rallied a little bit incorrectly, I think. So the later stages of this hold weren't as good. And this is a very risky move out for these archers. I think that Python might have been able to just jump on them. Maybe not right now, because he's a little bit aware of them, but I don't know. Is instead going to try to target down this forge, open up some new paths, and we'll go on from there. We have a fortress on the way for Python, going to go into dragons, which I do like. And Diontep has completely secured his natural, more or less. So he's going to be able to start mining from there. The work count is about equal, a little bit ahead for Diontep, and that's going to go further and further in Diontep because of the fortress not being able to build some workers. So that is something. These wolves try to come in, try to do a little bit of damage. Good target fire out of Diontep. Target firing that weakened wolf to get that kill. Very nice. Is going to come in with these wolves from the side as well to try to get us around, but is instead just going to run away. I didn't quite finish off this forge. Probably wants to be doing that. Okay, so Diontep holds. That's good. I do like that he's sending this raider across to try to scout. I think that's good. And essentially it's going to come down to, can Python do a little bit of damage with this dragon tech? And we'll see if that is going to be the case. So the 2-den was held more or less pretty well. It wasn't perfect. There were some errors on both sides, but it's a hold. You didn't die to it, so you're feeling okay with that. Looks like Python going to try to take us around, perhaps? No, going to try to do a little bit of run by. Diontep on top of that. This is a little bit of a risky situation for Diontep. Like, leaving his army over here, I would have much preferred if he had them like right here so that he's able to get out of the way if he needs to. We have this raider going across the map, and instead of scouting, he's going to try to attack these wolves. That's not what he wants to be doing. He needs to be trying to get that scout potentially. He's just going to flash away. Okay, that is okay as well. I guess he did see that check this third base kind of, so he's assuming that there isn't a third base perhaps. Maybe. We do have a forge on the way for Diontep, so looking to get into some upgrades. Good flash away over here on that raider. Not going to lose it. And Python going to split off wolves one by one into the two potential third base locations just to get the scouting. We have that Dragon's Lair on the way as well. And we have a advanced workshop on the way as well. Interesting. I'm not sure if this is just a little bit of, pre-scouting, or if this is something like that he's looking to do just because. It looks like Python's going to get a free, not exactly a free, but does get a archer for 2 wolves, make that maybe even 3. He's going to lose another raider here, though, if he targets it down. Okay, there we go. It was a little bit sloppy with that fight. Was Python. It did start pretty well, but losing a few too many wolves, in my opinion. Good target fire out of Diontep here. Okay, so we have a second Dragon's Lair on the way as well. All right, a little bit of pause, it seems like, based on the chat here. Looks like Diontep is going to try to take a third base. That's probably going to get scouted by this wolf. And losing a soldier as well. So this is the sort of thing that you really need to be careful of doing as if you are a Rax player, because you can't be bleeding off units like this. So wolves, obviously, they take a little bit of damage when doing that sort of attack, but as long as you don't die, they will eventually regenerate up that health, and they'll be totally fine. Whereas these Rax units don't regenerate health at all, and if you get surrounded and if you lose one, that's essentially a free pick off. So yeah, things looking pretty good for Python, getting a bit of a free advantage there. This wolf going to be taken down. Diontep taking this third base, and Python looking like he's going to grab one as well. No dragons on the way because he is supply block. That's definitely a mistake. He also has 2 wolves here. I think those maybe chased down that raider. Yeah, looks like this one has a kill. And yeah, Diontep is aware of the Dragon's Lair here, but that is the later one. So there already is one done, so perhaps that's going to mess up with Diontep. He does need to start a ballista, and hopefully he'll be able to do that soon. But perhaps he thinks he has a little bit more time than he actually does because he only saw this Dragon's Lair, which was only approximately 25% of the way done, whereas this one was already finished. Anyways, we have a bit of a push down the middle for Diontep. Is going to think better of it, it looks like. Going to try a different route. Going to try to target down a forge, but the way is already a little bit open thanks to Python. So it's still going to work on that. Okay. And a tower going down to secure this third base at the same time. The upgrades are looking pretty good for Diontep, and this could be a potential changing point if the game continues to go on and those upgrades really start to kick in. Python looking to do a bit of a surround, but right now this is a bit of a miscoordinated attack, so looks like it's going to lose a few units for free. Good target fire over here. Does have 2 wolves that, 2 soldiers that could be just surrounded. Not going to be able to do that though. And this is another portion of Python's army that looks like it's just going to get trapped. A free wolf, you take those. And then where are these dragons? We have the first one into the natural base of Diontep. It looks like there are a handful of archers here trying to defend. This ballista obviously could have been a lot earlier, but it's going to be a little bit delayed, which is not ideal. Diontep was... Okay, he's going to split off a few units. So this is somewhat risky for sure. He wants to try to defend and attack at the same time. Generally, what happens is that if the beast player is able to surround one of these armies for free and, fight with your full army against half of their army, then you're going to have a very good fight and win potentially both fights. So that is the risk that you take when you're doing this sort of splitting army sort of thing. Good hold position on these workers for Python. Going to take down a whole bunch of workers. Hold position on the wolves on the workers is going to take down 6 workers, it looks like. This counterattack, though, has gone across unnoticed, more or less. He did see it with the wolves here, but it looks like he hasn't been able to respond to it. And he's going to start to do a little bit of damage at the same time. Where are the dragons? Where did they go? Okay, they're stopping at here at the top. Could possibly go in and to try to do a little bit more damage. Yes, there is a ballista out, but I feel like you could do a little bit of damage. So these wolves going to come back to try to defend this run-by army for Diontep. And yeah, it looks like that's going to be the case. Going to look like it's going to be a good cleanup. At the same time, Python trying to move into the middle of Diontep's side of map, but unfortunately is going to be pushed back. So overall, looks like the defense was actually pretty solid. Did lose quite a bit of workers, is behind by 7 workers, which is a significant amount, but does have a bit of an army advantage, I'd say, at the moment. And might be able to do a lot with this army. Also has the upgrade advantage, so these units are going to be a little bit stronger than they normally would. And this is actually looking like a pretty scary push. I don't know if this is going to be game ending, but it definitely does have a little bit of potential to do a lot of damage. All right, so Python going to look to go for some upgrades of his own. This is going to be a little bit delayed for sure. And Diontep going to try to go into target down this Wolves Den. I don't think that's a great idea. A Dragon does fall. These units were attacking the buildings instead of the units, so he's going to have a pretty poor start to this fight. Is going to try to target down the Ballista, is Python, and that will allow these dragons to reign supreme in the air. Yes, there's a handful of archers, but these archers are overtaxed, as Tano would say. Good little bit of micro trying to go into a good surface area, less situation, trying to limit the surface area of these wolves, but the soldiers were caught in the middle and just big surround on there, and this Rax army looks like it is going to be cleaned up eventually. I like this move out of Python, just trying to bait those archers out a little bit just to get a little bit more of that surface area, and was able to do so. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be cleaned up more or less pretty easily. At the same time, we have another bit of a run by. I think this is definitely risky. I don't know if this is... Yeah, I don't really like this because this is very close to the previous army. And it's also going to be, I'd say, probably surrounded very easily and shut down. We have these dragons going across the map to try to do a little bit of a counterattack. I do like that. Diontep is going to come in, start working on a house, but you do want to be target down these workers instead. These archers are eventually going to fall. It is taking a while because of that good position here. Diontep is going to pull back. I do like that he split off this one soldier into the main base to get that scouting information. These dragons unable to do too much. There's a tower and also a ballista, and this wolf run by also is going to be warded away due to the towers here. So Diontep doing some pretty good multitasking, but he is still a little bit behind overall, I would say, in that worker count. This was an opportunity for him to get back into it, but he hasn't been producing his workers as cleanly as he would have liked, hasn't been as diligent as he would have liked. So still a little bit behind. Yes, he killed some workers with his run by and stuff, but could have done a little bit more. The soldier into the main going to try to target down a worker or two. And we just kind of go on from there. The issue with Rax player doing this sort of little bit of run by is that if you don't really get any value out of them, it's just, you're just donating units, right? Trying to do a little bit of target fire here. Yep, there we go. Gonna try down that dragon. Gonna get a second dragon as well. Very nice. But I was saying, if you sort of try to do this sort of thing, and then Beast player is able to defend everything, get surrounds on these armies, and like shut them down, you're gonna be taking very poor trades. So it's this sort of play is very risky. So far, it's working out more or less, but it's definitely something that is very risky to do. No fourth base on the way for either player just yet. Python really upping the production facilities here. Going to go up to 6 dens, 2 Dragon's Lair, and also a workshop. So that is a lot of production for 3 bases. Diontep looking to take a 4th base, and hopefully he'll be able to hold on to that. We have some wolves going to do a little bit of surround. Good pick up on that worker. It's going to do very nice. A little bit of a counterattack onto this 3rd base with these wolves and dragons, it looks like. But 2 towers will probably buy enough time for the army to come back. He's going to try to target down workers as much as he can before those units come. I think it's going to be forced to pull those units away. I do like that. Doesn't need to move his units. This might be a big trap, though. Is going to try to get out of there, or maybe even just fight. Yeah, but that's a little bit too much. So this sort of run by not working out so very well for Python is going to lose a huge chunk of his army after killing only a small handful of workers. So not the best. And also Diontep does have this 4th base on the way, whereas Python does not. Python is sticking to his guns on this 3 base, so he's going to have a ton of more just units production, and he's gonna look to basically overrun his opponent before he can get to that late game economic advantage. Well, not late game, but you know, economic advantage. These dragons going to delay this fourth base even more. That also opens up or triggers a counterattack into the bottom side as well. This ballista will be able to push these dragons away. Going to try to retake this fourth base. Is going to be a wild python taking another base. So that's going to be his fourth base. He's also going to go into werewolf tech at the same time. Looks like he's also caught up more or less. No, not quite. I was going to say he caught up to the upgrades, but not quite. So yeah, this upgrade advantage is actually pretty huge. If Diontep is able to use it, that would be huge. But we have a huge number of wolves. This is all due to that 6 wolves den production. This dragon going to try to do a little bit of damage. One of them was taken down. Is going to fly into the main where there's no anti-air. So Diontep does need to respond to that. Python going to attack on the top side as well. But I don't think this is quite going to be enough, especially if Diontep does do that micro. He's not going to micro as well as he would have liked. So that's a lot of damage onto these soldiers. Diontep just pulling away from his main base to save those workers. I do think that's a great idea. Diontep looking to threaten this fourth base of Python. Python does have a sizable army. He's being pulled over to the bottom right-hand side due to only a handful of units. So this is the benefit of... So this is a bit of a multi-edged sword, right? Double-edged sword for this sort of run-by. So if you send a few units and Python just cleans them up for free, that's good for Python, but at the same time that does allow Diontep to move in onto the top side of the map and get a free pick off here. So basically trading units for a little bit of a distraction to try to get this fourth base here. However, this is a very big surround coming out of Python. Wolves coming in from both angles here. Probably looking to take a huge surround to just absolutely shut this down, but they did get a fourth base, so that is actually pretty huge. Does need to try to micro this into a place where there's less surface area. Is going to do that right now, so going to do his best to skedaddle into the corner, which is very nice. This will eventually be cleaned up, but that was a pretty good pick off for Diontep. Maybe not the best. I feel like he could have done a little bit better with like maybe a bigger counterattack onto the bottom side. He's still doing a lot of damage here, but I do like that multi-pronged harassment, but does lose both of his armies eventually, so is trading out a lot of his army. At the same time, we have a bit of a counterattack with these wolves. Not going to get too much done. And yeah, I do want to say that Diontep does have this fourth base, right? And that is going to be potentially a big difference maker in this game if he can keep Python on these 3 bases. His main is mined out. His natural still needs to be resaturated. Does need to pull some of his workers back over there. But otherwise, this is looking like Diontep, even though he's down in supply, might be able to just bleed out his opponent. Good whole position out of Python, going to take down a handful of workers there. Is going to get a bit of a surround on this army, but I think it's a little bit too big, especially with that watchtower there. I think this is going to be a cleanup. It's going to try to target down these ballista. I don't mind that decision at all. And looks like he's just going to leave. No, he's going to try to take down the other ballista at the same time. Yeah, so Python really needs another base. He needs it, and he needs it now. Looks like he's going to try to take one on the bottom side, perhaps. We'll see if he's able to do that. Another ballista, it looks like, is going to fall. This is why a lot of players, when they go for ballista, they need that airship, right? Because the airship adds that mobility. It's not going to be punched out. A little bit of a mistake focus fire there by Diontep. Going to try to target fire, but did hit his own archer. That is something that can happen. We have a bit of a wolf counter attack as well. He's going to try to come in and help attack onto the top side of the base. We have a little bit of a run by, so a lot of action across the map. These wolves going to try to get us around onto this tower and the ballista. Going to try to target down this tower. And with that army advantage, looks like Python is doing a lot of work. But there is, once again, this counterattack. These small racks counterattacks, if they're shut down, like I said, they're not going to be able to do too much. But so far, they're finding a lot of damage, and that is really impressive. Or I guess or perhaps a little bit sloppy out of Python as well. These wolves will eventually be taken down by these superiorly upgraded soldiers, I believe. Python gonna look to take a fourth base on the top side of the map, so that is where he's going to try to establish a base. We have some more wolves coming in from the bottom side, going to look to get a bit of a surround, and this fight, this fight is looking okay. I would like to see Diontep, when fighting this sort of thing, do a little bit more micro, prevent a little bit more damage, and get a bit of a better fight, but yeah, it's okay, I guess. Not the hugest issue. Yeah, so if Python just establishes this, then he should be more or less good in terms of economy. He's going to try to take this space as well at the same time. So looks like Diontep is going to try to do the same thing and just deny this space once again. We have a soldier coming to the bottom side of the map as well. Just going to scout for this gold mine. I do love that sort of play. Information is key. We have a... Where is this mage's build? Okay, it's over here. It's it started but didn't actually continue building. We have the first werewolf out, even though this werewolf's den was done a long time ago. It didn't quite have the resources to continue building those werewolves. So that is going to be the first werewolf out. Diontep going to rotate to the top side of the map. I do like this. It's going to try to take down this base, or at least deny it. This mage's guild still hasn't been in production correctly. Does need to ratify that. The Rax army of Diontep going to kind of come in. There is a single catapult here that might be able to do a ton of damage. So far, has been doing pretty well. And here comes the rest of Python's army to try to defend this fourth base. It's going to be pretty difficult, I'd say. There are quite a few soldiers here, but with a good smash maybe, that is an absolutely huge smash. I think that got like 6, 7, 8 Rax units. I think they're still going to be able to hold on, but I think that smash was a little bit too big. We don't have this continuation of this mage's guild. That is definitely annoying. Looks like a portion of Python's army was forced to defend the bottom side from that single soldier that was there. And looks like Diontep is going to be able to take down this base. So very, very nice. Very nice pickoff, and he's also taking his fifth base in the top left-hand side as well. Diontep looking to be in a very good position. But it's not quite over for Python, though. He is establishing another base in the bottom. That is going to be his fourth, so it's going to be behind on a base. But he also has, some very interesting high-tech units, right? The catapults, some werewolves if he continues to build them. So he does have a bit of a sophisticated army. Maybe he's a little bit behind in upgrades, right? Maybe these mages, once they come out, they'll be very significant. But at the moment, he does still have a chance for sure. Good keeping an eye onto this gold mine at the same time. Yeah. So I do want to note that Diontep did go for that early upgrade advantage, and he's been holding it the entire game, which is very, very nice. That's definitely something that is really important, especially if you are playing against Beast, because Beast attacks a lot. Having that armor upgrade is really nice, just to reduce the attack of those snakes, for example, and the wolves. So very nice. We'd like to see some workers being transferred up to the top left base, as well as just some continued worker production. I feel like both players haven't been doing the best job of that. Looks like Python trying to take the bottom right-hand side base as well. There is a single catapult here, but with some good micro, I don't think that would be enough to deter this archer force. He's going to target it down. Very nice. Did lose maybe like 2 or 3 archers there, but could have been a lot worse had he not microed. So this is eventually going to be cleaned up from all these wolves. And at the same time, we have these 3 soldiers that were just on this base, going to go for a counterattack. So I really like that Diontep is going for this sort of multi-pronged aggression sort of play. He's been forcing Python to defend at multiple locations at once. He's been forcing Python to play on the back foot more or less this entire game, other than that first initial 2 dens part, I guess. And this is a pretty sizable Rax army. Maybe it's not the biggest, but right now with what Python has, it is looking pretty scary. These high-tech units are very slow, so they're going to come into the fray a little bit late, so it's going to be pretty big. Python looking to get a big surround, might be able to do so. These catapults need to target fire the archers rather than the soldiers. I would say. Good target fire there. Does get only a single archer, though. Good smash, not the best, I guess. And looks like this Rax army is going to be forced back eventually. Diontep at the same time attempting to take this as their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th base. Not going to be able to do so, but we have those mages on the way. Fireball being researched, 2 mages on the production tab, and that might just be it production-wise. We have a bit of a drop into the main base as well. Took down a tower, not a tower, a dragon's lair. Wasn't able to do too much after that. I do want to say that Python did have the opportunity to go back into dragons, right? He was able to take down all the ballista of Diontep, right? So maybe a transition back into dragons might have been a very good idea, but is going to be a little bit denied on that side because of that pickoff over there. The supply is looking still pretty even. We have some pauses over here, and that is unfortunately the end of the game. So the game unfortunately wasn't quite over. We had a bit of a ending unexpectedly due to lag. Diontep unfortunately being kicked by the server due to his internet connectivity issues, and we're forced to have a regame. So we will have a new game. This time they actually decided to play on a different map, maybe because they thought maybe the map was had too many things or whatever. So a little bit of understanding, technically against the rules, but whatever, it's fine. So the map is going to be Silent Fjord. And we're going to see how this plans out. Spawning in the top left-hand side, top right-hand side, it's going to be Python. And in the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's Diontep. So the sort of mind games that come into play when they've already played a game, of course, it didn't actually have a bit of, it didn't actually mean anything, but you do get that information. You do see what your opponent's style is, what the sort of builds that they have potentially prepared. So that might come into play here. So for example, Diontep might be a little bit more prepared for a potential 2-den. Python might be thinking, okay, what can I do to prevent those sort of run-bys? Maybe I'll put down a tower at each of my bases or something like that. So there's a lot of potential for adjustments that you can make as a series goes on. We have a house from both players, and we'll see how it goes from here. Are we going to see the 2-den once again from Python? Are we going to see the 1-Rax expand, or attempt at a 1-Rax expand, except it was actually denied because they saw the 2-den and had to go for a 2-Rax? I don't know. We'll have to find out. We have that first den coming up for Python. We have that first Rax coming up for Diontep as well. And we'll see how it goes. Looks like so far Python not going to try to throw down another den, so it looks like it's going to be a 1-den expand, whereas Diontep looks like it's just going to stick with this 1-Rax. I do like that. Okay, the Rax play is actually really good. I've said it multiple times before on this map, but you can you kind of have a get out of jail free card with those flashes on this ramp. You can flash down to the low ground, and that is very powerful. On many other maps, you don't have that. You just have to you're forced to like flash back into open space, and that can come into play potentially. And we'll see how it goes. We have a second Rax on the way for Diontep. So it looks like Diontep is going to try to be the aggressor, or perhaps maybe that was his plan all along on Xenos as well. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it looks like he is going to do a 2-Rax, and this is going to be a difficult hold, especially because Python is only going to do that Destroy Call build. He does need to get that scout off and hopefully see that second Rax, or, you know, the number of raiders, something like that. And we'll see if he's able to do so. This 1 wolf going across the map. Very nice. And Diontep putting down this house over here to block that backside. This is something that you can do on this map on both sides. You can just completely negate one side of the natural, so the backside of the natural. And that is a very key, or at least it gives you a little bit of a heads up even if they do break it down. This wolf gonna come in. Ooh, good flash over here by Diontep denying the scout. I think that was very nice, very important. So that was some good heads up play by Diontep denying the scout of that second rack. So Python just thinks it's a one racks more or less. Does have a second wolf coming in, so if that gets the scout, that's gonna be huge. And it is gonna see. So he is aware it is a 2 racks. So what is his response gonna be? Is he still gonna throw down that castle that he was looking to get? Yes, he is. Okay, so far he needs to buy as much time as he can with the wolves, and then he needs to do something to deal with these raiders. What is that response gonna be? Is this gonna be a tower potentially? If they were me, that would be what I would be doing. Okay, so I'm not a huge fan of this tower placement, though. So this tower placement only really covers this area. The raiders can still be annoying on this side of the map, or this side of the natural. I would have much preferred this this house to be maybe here, and then maybe this tower should be like here-ish. Just so that it covers a bit more surface area. It covers that front side. Diontep looking to try to take down that low HP wolf. Looks like some good micro out of Python is going to squirm its way out. And also, Diontep is playing very defensive with these raiders. He needs to be going across the map and trying to do a little bit of damage. Is now going to pull all his raiders and go across. Oh, does need to flash that away. That's going to be an absolute huge pick off for Python. That is a free raider you'll take any day of the week. And this might get surrounded as well. A little bit of a mistake out of Python, though. He's kind of right-clicked into them. Like, he move commanded across the map, it seems like. And is going to lose two wolves for free. So not ideal. Make that a third. Some good flashes out of Diontep, taking that down as well. So while it did start very well for Python, getting a free raider, did lose 3 wolves for free as well. So not the best. We have a second wolves den coming down for Python, and we're going to see how good his micro is. I guess he does have that watchtower, so the raiders won't be able to poke in too much. I think they'll have to be forced to stay on this side of the map. It's going to just attack, just walk in, snipe a worker or two, and just get out. That sort of thing is probably what he wants to be doing. He's going to try to attack the castle. I'm not a fan of that. If you are going to attack a building here, I think you go for either the wolves den or the house instead of going for the castle. You're never going to get that down. We have a castle on the way for Diontep as well, so he's going to transition out of this. He's going to make a handful of... he stopped making raiders. He's going to make some archers, so... Yeah, so this is being stopped more or less. I feel like he really should have attacked one of either the wolves den or the house. Right now, it's done approximately 1,000-ish damage, a little bit more closer to, I guess, 900, and that would be enough to take down this house. So had he invested this damage onto the house or the wolves den, it would be a building kill. But right now, the castle is still more or less relatively healthy. We have a bird coming out from Python, so that's going to try to do a little bit of scouting information. And that's going to be perhaps denied by these archers. We'll have to find out. He's going to start repairing that castle. And yeah, these raiders are really healthy, so with some good micro, he should be able to take care of them. I think Python should know that there hasn't been any raiders being added on. It's been the same 4 raiders the entire game so far. So I think he should know that there aren't any reinforcements coming. That bird has been taken down, so a little bit sloppy from Python as well. Good positioning with these archers. Going to take that down. And these raiders are doing a lot more damage than they really should. I feel like Python hasn't been really active with these wolves as well as he would have liked. Once again, that tower placement not paying off dividends really. And this hold could have been a little bit cleaner for sure for Python, I think. Like what you can do here is you can sneak around the back or something like that to try to get us around. Is unfortunately not going to be able to do that. Has lost quite a bit of wolves. So 7 wolves so far. It used to be, I think, 4 before we started. So it looks like lost 3 wolves for free here. Some good kiting so far out of Diontep. Is a bit of a not the best flash there. Is out of flashes, so that means Python can perhaps get us around. Ooh, this is a bit of a mistake from Diontep. Python not being gonna be able to capitalize on that. So definitely a mistake. Gonna throw down house. Gonna look to get a third base at the same time. We have once again Diontep going for this fast forge. He did the same thing last game, and I think it did wonders for him. Gonna look to go for some quick upgrades. We have these archers, 6 of them, gonna join up with the raiders and look to do a little bit of damage. I don't think this is a good fight for Python. This is pretty risky, especially if the snakes are separated from the rest of the wolf army, but looks like that's not gonna be ending up mattering. No, it does. Almost gets that snake for free. Almost gets that wolf as well. This is looking like a very scary army, but maybe not going to the back is definitely risky because you did see that watchtower there. A little bit of a move command here. Ooh, could have potentially gotten that. His army was split, so obviously not the best idea. This forge did complete, but no upgrade has started just yet. This third base approximately halfway done. And this attack is it's gonna redirect into the main side. I think that's probably the best idea. This is a pretty scary army, though. I think with good micro, I think this army is gonna absolutely crush Python's army here, especially if he's target firing the snakes, that sort of thing. Python he thinks the army is here because that's where it was heading, but Diontep has rerouted his army to the top side. Top left side, it looks like. Okay, we have a fortress on the way once again for Python. So we're looking to see if some dragons in the future. That +1 attack has started for Diontep as well. A third rack's on the way at the same time. Diontep looking to do a significant amount of damage, not looking to go for a later stages of the game, it looks like. He's going to try to take a third base. Never mind, ignore me. And we have a bit of a miss rally. Okay, so we have a bit of a base trade, it seems like. Diontep going to try to target down this third base. Okay, so this is... I don't know about this decision. Yes, Wolf Snake is very fast, but he's going to be forced to come all the way back to his base, and he's not even going to be able to save his third base either. So I guess this is a very good army movement out of Diontep. Faking towards the right side, coming up to the left side. Does get the castle kill, but does not want to be surrounded here. Needs to do the best micro he can do. These raiders are going to try to come into the main base to scout, and it's going to see the fortress, which is very nice, but these archers and these raiders and that soldier is going to be surrounded. Raiders go into the main base, going to try to see what's up. These archers are going to be surrounded and taken down. Does save the 2 raiders, which is very nice, but yeah, this is a bit of an army reset here, but you do take down the third base, so you're more or less okay with that. You also get the scout into the main base, so you're okay with that as well. Diontep could have done a little bit more of target fire. He's going to target fire the wolf instead of the snake. Might have been able to get that snake, but that's okay. This raider is going to be cleaned up. And yeah, so Diontep did do a significant amount of damage, took down the base, but at the same time lost a huge chunk of his army as well. So obviously that's not what you want to do. A best case scenario, you'd take down the base and escape, but he's gonna have to forced to trade most of it out and take a base here. So he's gonna look to get ahead in the macro game. We have +1 attack coming in for a beast. And also the first Dragon's Lair. Python looking to reclaim that third base. Is going to start that up right now. It looks like we have a bit of a counterattack for Python. I do like that idea. Is going to be forced back from this Rax army, it seems like. Okay. So we have that upgrade advantage from Diontep. Did get that +1 attack. I'm sure that was pretty important in that fight. Hasn't actually started an additional upgrade. As I say, that is going to start it right now. Very nice. And also, Diontep's castle is a little bit quicker, so I'd say advantage does go to Diontep here. Yes, it would have been a little bit better had he saved a bit more of his army, but it's still a pretty good start, I would say. Does need to start respecting... Okay, there we go. As I was saying, does need to start respecting that Dragon's Lair, especially because he did scout it with the Raiders, as you can see. I feel like this could have been a little bit earlier, but it's not a huge issue, I'd say. He's going to probably have at least 1 ballista almost out when the first dragon hits. Looks like Diontep is saying, I can probably do a little bit more damage. Is going to try to go across the map and do a little bit of harassment or some sort of attack onto the third base, it looks like. We'll see if that's going to be able to get a lot of damage. Python, once again, is playing very interestingly. I do like that he's trying to go for these surrounds, but I feel like maybe he could have tried to deny this third base or delay it a little bit. Maybe if his army was a little bit more forward, he would see this move out a little bit earlier. He's going to see it now with this portion of his army. He's going to try to surround from the backside, it looks like, at the same time. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. That first dragon is out. Looks like maybe he's just going to try to come and defend with it. Yep, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be a pretty big surround if Python is able to get it off. Diontep is forced to kite back, and so far this is, yeah, that's an excellent surround. A little bit unfortunate by Diontep. I think his move was a little bit too telegraphed because after he saw it here, and that's a good surround out of Python. Is going to decimate this army, it looks like, and Diontep throwing away his army this time. It doesn't even get like last time it was okay because he took down the castle. This time he's just trying to trade out. There's a lot of split damage here. Didn't get as much damage as he would have liked, and that is a great fight for Python. Good surround, good fight. Looking very good for him. He also has the dragons out, so that does mean that Diontep is likely to be forced to stay defensive on his side of the map for the near future. So big advantage for Python here. We have Diontep looking to go for archer range, it seems like, with that armory. We'll see if that comes into play in the future. But right now he needs to defend, I think. Python being a little bit slow to do a little bit of a counterattack. Is kind of playing a little bit passive. I think this is a little bit too passive. I feel like he just absolutely demolished Diontep's army. This is an excellent opportunity for him to go on the offensive. And yeah, now he's going to go do that. Looks like he's splitting off some wolves here just to get some vision. I do like that. He has some dragons over here that aren't doing too much. I would like to see them just come in. Yep, there we go. And we'll go on from here. Python being supply blocked, also not starting, and okay, now has started that upgrade. Just as I was about to criticize. First ballista is out, so that's going to be able to ward off these dragons more or less. They're going to try to come in and target down that worker, but good response out of Diontep. He had his worker, his army more or less in that same vicinity. We have Diontep sending us some soldiers to scout for a fourth base. I do like that. I think that's very nice. I feel like, yeah, once again, I want to say that Python can be a bit more aggressive, a bit more active with his wolves, his wolf snake army. Not going to try to get a lot of value out of them, so not ideal. These dragons going to try to fly into the main, but it looks like they're going to be a little bit trapped. There are some archers here, ballista on at the natural, at the main as well. This raider is going to work on this house, but that's going to be taken care of eventually. And these dragons are kind of trapped in no man's land, but it looks like they'll be able to escape to the bottom side. Very nice maneuvering here. Diontep looking to cut that off, potentially. Or at least aiming to. This soldier going to be taken down by that dragon as well. Yeah, these dragons are pretty trapped here. It was definitely a risky move coming into the main base. It looks like he's going to lose 2 dragons for that price. So a little bit costly for sure. Didn't quite click away far enough, and it's going to lose the next dragon perhaps as well. Not quite. So, yeah, not the best dragon harassment. Python is taking a 4th base and a 5th base at the same time. Interesting that he took this one first. Maybe because he saw the soldier there. That was why. Here's a bit of a surround out of the wolf snake. Going to try to take down these archers. I do like this sort of play, but maybe it could have been done a little bit earlier when Diontep didn't have quite as many units. Is going to try to target down that worker. Barely not able to get it. Is going to try to target it down, but it's a lot of free damage at the same time. We have some wolf snake going to try to take down this ballista. Not going to be able to get it, I don't think, especially if he repairs. Yep, there's that worker for repair. Maybe he wants to pull some more workers to repair that. Yeah, but Python instead just tries to target down a worker. And I guess Python with that big fight earlier on on that top side has kind of run away with it, right? He's forced Diontep to play defensively. Yes, he sacrificed some dragons and whatever, but that's also buying a lot of time for him to go for these additional bases. He's going for workshops. He's going for more production, right? So that was a lot of time bought, and all because of this excellent. It all stemmed from this excellent fight that he had. And Python's in a very good position. He's got a lot of map vision. He's got a lot of time, but he does need to take care of this army once again. But Diontep going to try to come in and try to win with this army, essentially. He's been stuck on 3 bases, which obviously he doesn't like, but he does have a pretty sizable army. He does have an upgrade advantage. He's going to try to go with this and try to win the game from here. If Python is a little bit sloppy with his fights, then this could go in the way of Diontep. It doesn't want to really fight here, in my opinion. It does need to bring his army back, but this portion of his army is a little bit busy defending over here. And this sort of fight where it's only just a small portion of this beast army is gonna look like a good fight for Diontep, right? Losing these ballista might be pretty huge, though. If Python is able to snipe them all down, then the dragons can come in and just clean it up. But okay, here's with the reinforcements coming in from the other side of the map. I think this is actually a pretty good position, though. I was gonna say this might be basically it, but the wall does actually fall a little bit. There's a bit of a hold onto it, the right side, and this is a bigger surround that Diontep would have liked. These ballista putting in a ton of damage against these dragons, but they are going to be targeted down, and that does mean that this fight, this army is going to be crushed, and looks like Python is just going to win with this. There aren't any mage techs like the last game on Xenos. There isn't really anything coming behind this. The upgrade advantage is going to be looking like it's going to be ratified soon because of that additional animal testing lab coming on the way for Python. And he's just ahead too far economically. I think this is looking very, very dire for Diontep. He's going to try to take a 4th base, so that is a start. Is also putting down 3 more racks, I think. 1, 2, or maybe 2 racks. It's going to try to play on from here, but it's going to be really difficult for sure. We have these dragons coming in, try to deny this 4th base, it looks like. And they're going to do an excellent job of it. All those ballista, the 3 ballista that came with this push were taken down as well. So those ballistas, the ballista count, going to be reset to 1. And this is a very nice fight. Or a very nice pick off here for Python. I have a bit of a soldier run by, as Diontep has been liking, especially in that previous game. Hopefully, it's not going to get too much damage. And these dragons are going to be pushed back from these archers, but there's a pretty sizable wolf snake army. I think once this wolf snake army comes in and is going to fight, I think that might be just about it. These workers are going to be transferred over to this base to hopefully try to mine from there. But yeah, we have Python who is maxed. Diontep is only at 70 supply. Those soldiers were shut down, and we have a bit of a fight over here. A little bit of a miscontrol out of Python. I think he was targeting down his own wolves, but I don't think that's going to end up mattering here. Wolf Snake putting in the damage. These dragons also targeting down these archers one after the other. The ballista falls, and that means Diontep is not going to be able to take this 4th base, and with that, I think that might just be it. The upgrades are not going to be enough to save him. This is going to try to take this base at the same time, but there is a wolf there just keeping an eye out, so I think this might be it. 2 soldiers run by coming into the, what is this, the 5th base, the 4th base of Diontep, or not Diontep, Python. This can also be easily handled with the wolves around, and also even the workers, honestly. Diontep looking to expand onto this side as well, but I think he's going to lose his space more or less for free. I mean, he doesn't have the units to defend it. He has his units over here, but those are going to look to do a bit of a counterattack, and he's going to give up this space. These soldiers will also get sight of that additional base in the top left-hand side, so if you're Diontep, your heart is going to sink when you see that. We have double upgrades on the way, even another one. So it's actually triple upgrades, quadruple upgrades. That is a lot of upgrades. And yeah, that upgrade advantage, which was, is no longer ceasing to exist. Wait, is starting to, no longer see, is gonna cease to exist. There you go. I can English sometimes, not when I'm tired though. These dragons gonna try to do a lot of damage to these workers. Did get quite a few of them. Doesn't need to. Okay, that's a bit of a donation there. And that counterattack that Diontep was looking to do isn't able to do too much. Is gonna be taken down, shut down. I think that might be it. Diontep really looking to take this 4th base, but Python aware of it. GG is called. Diontep gonna tap out of that one. And yeah, some a little bit of a I guess a good hold. I want to say not really the best, but the hold was good against the two Rax Raider, and then eventually there was that initial Rax fight where he took down the 3rd base, which was good for Diontep. But after that, he just got surrounded and decimated. And it was irrecoverable from there. All right, let's head into game 2, but it's actually game 3. It's going to be on Thieves' Isle. Let's take a look at what happens. Spawning in the top left-hand side. Down 0-1, it's Diontep. And spawning in the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's Python. All right, so Thieves' Isle is a weird, wonky-ish map. You know, we have these back paths to the natural that can be broken down and you can attack into them. So that's something to be aware of. Also, because of a lot of this dead space in the air, generally air strategies have been pretty good. Yes, Ballista can counter them, but if you're over here, the Ballista can't do anything. So that's why we do see a lot of dragons on this map. And we'll see if that is the case in this game. Both players looking to take a house, more or less, it looks like. Diontep throwing down a tower. That's very interesting. Looks like that kind of tips me off to him wanting to go for a castle first. But generally, if you do go for a castle first and a tower, you go for the castle first, and then you build a tower. But in this case, looks like Diontep actually going to go for the tower first. So it's a little bit safer, but it's not quite worth it in my opinion. I would definitely much rather prefer him to go for the castle first into the tower to defend that castle. Python going to go for the 1 den so far. Okay. No worker coming downstairs, so it looks like it's just going to be that 1 den. Yeah, so Diontep gonna go for a watchtower. You want to go for a castle first here. It's also better because you aren't as supply blocked for as long. So this is just I guess a little bit of I guess not aware of how this build goes. Maybe he's not quite familiar with this FE build, so definitely a little bit sloppy. There's also a bit of a space here, so that's going to be potentially some surface area later on in the game if Python attacks into that. So that is going to be pretty bad. So far, Diontep going to go for a FE is not going to do as well as he would have liked, in my opinion. Is going to be ahead economically, but not hugely. We have, looks like the DC build from Python is going to go for the wolves. A little bit of missed rally here because it is full. Yeah, he's going to readjust that. And okay, we'll see how this goes. So what does Python do once he comes across the map, sees the castle, sees the tower? Is he going to try to greedily expand to maybe take a 3rd base really quickly in response? Or is he going to say, okay, I don't know, maybe I'll try to do some sort of, because this tower is a little bit out of position, maybe I'll sort of try to do some sort of push with additional wolves, maybe get some catapults or something. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Diontep throwing down another tower. That is really unnecessary. I guess it's a little bit... Yeah, I really don't know. This is probably going to tip Python off and say, okay, yeah, if you see this as Python, you want to be as greedy as possible. Like, you might even want to cancel this wolf and just go for base and base. I don't know if that's what he's going to decide to do. Looks like he is going to take this natural base for sure, which is very nice. We have a worker coming out for Diontep. I'm not sure what this is for. It's just going to be scouted instantly by the wolves, and he's going to be forced to run away. Doesn't want to... Okay, he's just going to sacrifice the wolves in. Ooh, good worker pull. Excellent worker pull out of Diontep there, denying the scout. Python going to try to go all the way around. Yeah, so this is... Oh, no, you don't want to do that. Why did he go that way? If he went all the way around, he would have gotten that scout, but a little bit sloppy here for Python. But yeah, so because you can wall this off with buildings, but he hasn't done that just yet, these wolves can come into the backside and get an easy scout. So... Okay, it looks like he's going to throw down a workshop. We have a advanced workshop on the way. So maybe he's thinking, okay, this is some sort of dragons or something like that. Or maybe he wants to drop his wolves into the main base or something like that. This is something a little bit unconventional in my opinion. I do think that if it were me, I would probably go for a quick third base. But Python going to go for a advanced workshop. And he also needs to get this scout. So if you see these two towers in the front, and you see the castle, I think there's valid reasoning for you to be very suspicious of, oh, something must be up. So I would like to see Python try to get that scout. His first time attempt was denied because he went through the mineral line here, but could go around, especially because there's no buildings. If this this workshop had been here to deny that sort of thing, that would be a little bit better, but maybe he just wants to hide that as well. So we have another wolves den on the way for Python. So this is looking more and more like he's going to try to do a wolf drop. These wolves going to try to come in to do a little bit of scouting. Diontep looking to block that, but he can just... Yeah, Python can sneak through if he splits his wolves, like one on coin trying to go this way, two coming trying this way, that sort of thing. But instead, it's going to be denied. That is very sloppy from Python, I think. You can definitely get the scout in there, but is instead going to be forced back. So, good response out of Diontep. Easily, you can kind of defend this. Oh, I see. We have mills 2 and 3. We saw yeah, okay. We have triple mill. This is very unconventional. We have quadruple mill. This is exciting, guys. We're going to see quadruple gyrocraft on the way. This needs to be scouted instantly. Come on. You need to go into the main. There's been so many opportunities for Python to actually scout this. And this is going to, if he doesn't scout this is going to be a huge surprise. Yes, there is a ballista on the way. Yes, there is, the advanced workshop already complete. But I really do think that this can potentially be game-ending damage if you don't see it. And it's looking more and more likely that he's not going to be able to see it. Diontep going to throw down a house over here to deny the backsides. I would have really preferred to see this a little bit better on the backside over here instead. Python going to try to target down a worker, but that is not what he wants to be doing because he needs to get that scout. This is not ideal for Python. And losing these wolves is obviously not ideal either. But the big picture is really this. Can he figure out what's going on? He has a single ballista, and that's it. He has a third base on the way. If you're Python, you haven't seen anything. You've only seen workers. You've only seen these towers. You haven't even seen the scouting gun. So you need to know something is up. I'm not quite sure why Python is playing so... He needs to be trying to get this scout. Like, I don't know why he's not trying to get this scout. He doesn't know what's going on. Like... It could be dragons. It could be invisible werewolves. I don't know what it could be. It could be anything. And Python has no idea. So he's going to throw down a tower. Yes, towers are good. They keep you safe. He's going to throw down another wolf's den. But he has nothing against this anti-air except for this one ballista. This is going to be a huge opportunity for Diontep with these gyrocraft. What is he going to be able to do with them? How many is he gonna pull? Is he gonna go with 4, which is the initial number that he will have? Is he gonna wait even more for like 8 or something? Looks like he's gonna go across the map with 4. Maybe that's a little bit early. I don't know. Maybe not. He's going to go across, and Python needs to figure this out. He's probably might be able to see this with the wolf. We'll see. Yes, he's going to see it. Diontep also attacking it. That's a little bit of a mistake. Now Python is aware of it. He needs to start throwing down anti-air everywhere, right? He needs to... What is he doing? Please, where's the ballista? He needs the ballista. He needs the towers. The tower coming into the natural. But this is a big opportunity, right? Diontep needs to start working on something other than this castle. It's going to try to come in, try to target this down, but we do have one ballista on the way. Diontep going to look to target down that airship. Oh, nope, it's going to retarget onto that worker. A good pullback micro over here, and this is a very important situation right over here. Right now, we has only one ballista. He does have a tower that is protecting this top side, but Diontep needs to do more damage. This needs to do a lot of damage, and I think it definitely has the potential. 3 gyros onto the main base. They're going to try to target down some of these workers. At the same time, we have a bit of a wolf counterattack. Not looking to do too much. There are double towers, of course, and these gyros are first. Okay, these gyros coming back to defend, I am not a huge fan of. These gyros need to be doing damage, and getting these wolves is nice. It's free damage, but it's not the game-ending damage that he really wants to have. There's a second ballista on now ready. That's going to be able to take care of this gyrocraft. That's another gyrocraft going down. So far, we have 1, 2, 3 gyrocraft going down, and obviously not ideal. Looks like Python going to go for a fortress at the same time, and it has somehow been a pretty easy hold. I really feel like this didn't need to be an easy hold, and I really think that this could have done so much more damage. Yes, he had a ballista out. Yes, he had an airship out as well. But I think there was a bit more opportunity for these gyros to do some more damage. I do like that he's just parking into the airspace with this. Doesn't want to get baited out. Oh, that's a bit of a mistake. Not on hold position. Is going to be baited out. Is going to try to drop his... Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's just a little bit unfortunate. Diontep taking a 3rd base at the same time, but it's going to lose that gyro to a tower. It's going to lose another gyro to this ballista. Oh, no. Oh, no, Diontep. That's really unfortunate. Lost 8. Count them, 8 gyrocraft. That's 880 gold. Has only killed 4 workers, and... yeah, that's just not it. That's just not it with this build. And things are looking good for Python. He has a fortress on the way, or a fortress being completed. Gonna throw down, looks like 2 dragon slayers. That needs to be scouted, but we'll see if he's able to do that. I guess one of the good things with these gyrocraft is that they give Diontep a lot of map control, which means that these wolves are more or less not going to be able to do anything unless you have the ballista with it. He's going to try to bring those ballista in right now. Do we have explosive shot? Not yet. Okay, that is almost complete. It is complete now, so that's going to be a big thing. Doesn't want to. You don't want to send this catapult out. I think that's very risky. So if he gets surrounded, it's just dead. He's going to drop this airship. Is going to get a good surround, perhaps. Yep. They're just going to jump onto this catapult, and it looks like it's going to go down with the ballista support as well. Yeah, this is looking disastrous for Diontep here. Big explosive shot as well. Going to do that huge AoE damage. And Diontep is falling apart a little. Hasn't really continued production here. Is basically saying, I don't think I can play air anymore. It looks like he's just stopping air control overall. And he's just going to go into a little bit of a Rags transition. So I'm not a huge fan of that. These wolves going to try to do a little bit of damage, but with the worker pull, that should be enough to take care of it. Yep, there we go. Python is going to be forced back. We have a little bit of harassment with this gyrocraft, but Ballista is going to take that down, or at least ward it away. Is he aware of these dragons? No, not yet. So that is pretty big. So these might come as a bit of a surprise for sure. And we have this mech army coming to the top side for Diontep. Looks like it's going to try to aim to do a little bit of harassment. Probably try to deny this fourth base. We have 4 additional wolf dens, except this isn't actually being produced for Python. All right, so going to try to target down this worker, which I think is very nice. Instead, these units are being aggroed by that one wolf, though. So a little bit of a mistake. Looks like he's going to lose a gyrocraft. Not quite. Okay. Bit of a good save here. At the same time, 3 wolves going to do a little bit of chaos into Diontep's attempt at a 4th base. We have the first 2 dragons on the way, which have not been scouted. And the game kind of normalizes from here. Diontep threw down a lot more of these racks, so he's going to play a little bit of a racks mech. Going to abandon his gyros, essentially, looks like. Saying, okay, I think you've defended them well enough. I'm just going to play it more or less standard. These gyros are going to come in and see these dragons later, so that is pretty big. So now he's going to be aware of it. Instantly throws down a advanced workshop. Maybe it was already building before. These Gatling guns coming in, getting surrounded, absolutely destroyed. It looks like these 2 dragons are going to win this fight, maybe, especially if he pulls back to the tower. Good target fire out of Diontep, going to try to take down that dragon. Is barely going to survive. 4 HP. Gyros are quicker, but the ballista come in to save the day, and that dragon does survive. All right, so double advanced workshop on the way. Oh, is this stuck? I think this is stuck. Yeah, that is these are some stuck mech units. Bit of a mistake here, SimCity-wise, from Diontep. We have a huge wolf army come in. It does need to get us around. Yep, there we go. I do like that surround. Gonna try to get on top of those squish units in the back line. Ignore the front soldiers, more or less. A little bit of even friendly fire going on. And Python is looking pretty good in this game. Diontep did get his 4th base, which means he's on equal number of bases, which is very nice. But at the same time, I don't know, he does have the dragons, this Python. He hasn't been using them yet. A little bit of, I guess, sloppy attacking into this tower. Did lose a lot of these wolves too. I feel like that could have been a little bit better if he had just pulled back after killing the catapult and the 2 archers. But yeah. We have an animal testing lab coming down for Python. You're going to look to go for some of those upgrades. These gyros are going to be pushed back by the dragons. Not going to be able to do much. And these wolves are going to come in and surround these soldiers. Okay, so mech needs upgrades because mech is one of those races where upgrades are also very important. One of the things that is absolutely crucial. Okay, and that's the end of the replay. Another unfortunate lag spike, it looks like, crash out of Diontep. And we'll head into the rematch. You hate to see it, really. And here is the final game for real this time. On the rematch, spawning in the top left, it's Diontep. A little bit of a miss from his previous strategy of, I think he really had the opportunity to do stuff with those quadruple mill gyros, but unfortunately not able to really find the damage he was looking for. I don't think he'll go for that strategy again. And spawning in the bottom left, it's Python. All right, we'll see how this goes. Is Diontep going to do the same sort of build? No, it's going to go throw down a house first. Is Python going to do the same build? I don't know. We'll have to find out. But no longer going to go for that castle first. Looks like it has learned his lesson, seems like. It was a very interesting strategy. I am a fan of it, or at least the idea of it. Execution-wise, not ideal. Could have been definitely a lot better, but it was really entertaining. I really did think it had a lot of potential, but was not able to do that in this case. So we have our racks on the way for Diontep, and we have a bit of a, okay, what is this worker going to do? Is this a scout? What is this for? We have a den on the way for a Python. Is this perhaps going to be a proxy den? We're going to have like one den at home, one den proxied, or is this just going to be a scout? So there's a potential it's just going to be a scout because I guess he was a little bit blindsided by that castle first in the previous game, and maybe he wants to avoid being tricked once again. We'll have to find out. He's going to hit that 100. So it looks like it's not going to be a proxy, but rather just a scout. Okay. I'm not against this. I think it's totally fine to do this. Diontep also looks like it's not going to go for an additional Rax so far. So it looks like it's just going to be a 1 Rax expand. Didn't actually build anything out of the Rax just yet. So that is interesting. This is something that some people have been doing. I don't really think it's really good. The idea is you have the option to go for a Rax unit after your castle. But I think if you're going to go for a Rax this early, I think it's just better to go for either just the castle first normally or actually go for a Rax unit. So, I don't know. It's something that some people have been experimenting with. We'll see if it works out for Diontep here. This is interesting. I do like this. I think he thinks that the raider is out. If he was paying attention, he might have been able to see that it wasn't actually producing. But I think this worker was like, okay, I don't want to get caught by that raider. I'm just going to go around to this bottom side of the map so I don't get caught. So I think that's very nice. Python also not going across the map with his first wolf. I'm not sure what that is for. Probably just a straight up mistake. I don't know why that's there. He's going to rectify that mistake right now. And okay, some interesting openings, and we'll see how this goes. Python did go for that DC build, as he has gone for multiple times in this series. And whereas Diontep did go for this, I guess, new school Rax first into castle, except you don't build anything out of the Rax. So is going to go for an archer and then a soldier. So this does mean this early game is going to be pretty difficult for Diontep here. These Rax units do not regenerate, right? So any sort of damage that the Python can do is essentially free damage because your wolves do regenerate. We have that castle on the way for Python, a little bit delayed in comparison to Diontep, especially because he did go for that. This soldier being surrounded is absolutely huge. You don't want to you don't want to take this much free damage in the early game. Oh no, this is not ideal. Oh no, Diontep, no. That is a free soldier. You do not want to be taking this sort of damage. This archer is also being surrounded. That is huge as well. He's going to pull back that wolf. The workers are being pulled to save it. So so far, this is an excellent start for Python. This is insane start for Python. Why was this the case? How did this happen? Number one, he went for this castle first build after going for the Rax, and number two, he didn't go for any raiders. He went for just the standard Rax units, the archer and the soldier. They were surrounded, and things are looking very good for Python here. Does need to be careful about this. There we go. Does pull those wolves back, but they will eventually regen up to full health, and that will be pretty big. Diontep going to try to follow this up with a 3 Rax. Is going to not hide these Rax, but instead just keep them in the natural base. They haven't been scouted just yet by Python, though. Python scouting in this series has not been the greatest, but we'll see if he's going to be able to be ready for this sort of thing. We have 3 wolves going to try to come in, try to do a little bit of scouting, a little bit of damage potentially. Yep, going to try to do a little bit of damage. Going to target down that archer. He's going to lose a wolf for it, but that is a trade that you're going to take if you are Python. Going to try to surround that additional archer as well. Pulls back these 2 wolves as well. He does see the 3 Rax at the same time, so this is a huge scout for Python. This is a huge pickoff for Python, and this game is insanely good for Python right now. It's like, it can't be understated how good of a start this is. He's gonna save that. Please save that. Oh my goodness, that could have been disastrous. These 2 wolves barely surviving, and they could have been targeted down. But yeah, this is just it. I think Python has all the tools he needs. He's seen the 3 Rax, so he knows what's coming. He's throwing down an additional wolves den. He's gotten so many kills in the early game. So far, 3 archers and 1 soldier to a single wolf. That is huge, especially in the early stages of the game. yeah, this is just a disastrous start for Diontep here. Almost loses another wolf, but is able to save him. Gonna pull those 3 weakened wolves back. Very good micro out of Python here, and is gonna fight with the healthy wolves. Try to target down these archers. Is gonna pull that back, but it looks like with good target fire is gonna get a wolf. Very nice. But this sort of, yeah, this is just oh my goodness, this is I can't understate how disastrous this is. It looks like he's gonna lose another wolf there, but yeah, this is just game over. Like, okay, imagine if Diontep still had the 7 additional units. Like, how scary this push could potentially be. Imagine if he had, defended and not even let his opponent scout this 3-rack sort of thing was gonna happen. Python saying I've gotten so many free kills. I think I can take a 3rd base even in the face of this. So, and I agree with him as well. Good target fire. Diontep almost gets that, not quite able to do so. And yeah, so 3rd base on the way for Python. He's gotten the better end of the trade so far, and he's in an excellent position. It looks like Diontep is saying, okay, I can't do anything with this three racks. I'm going to throw in a Mage's Guild, and perhaps with some fireballs, with some slow fields, maybe I'll be able to get into a good enough position. Maybe I'll be able to win the game with some surprise fireballs, some splash damage. We'll have to find out. The worker count 15 to 24, hugely in favor. That's another free pick off for Python here. Oh my goodness. Things really not going Diontep's way this game. It looks like he's saying, okay, I need to go now. Yes, this is a scary Rax army. It is not as scary as it could have been, though. Imagine having 8 more units with this. It would be absolutely huge. And we're going to see if Python's able to defend. Yes, 4. Okay, this is a bit of a mistake. It is supply blocked, but that castle is about to finish. But yeah, does have 4 dens worth of production, so that is going to be big. Looks like it's going to lose hold position, but good surround out of Diontep. Not quite the best surround, actually. He almost got the full surround here. And this is actually a very good pick off for Diontep. I'm actually kind of starting to believe, actually. A little bit sloppy from Python. Did hold position, but wasn't able to react in time. Good moves from Diontep instead of just attacking into it. Recognized that he was on hold position. Tried to get the biggest surround as possible. And this Rax army is actually surprisingly scary then. Losing that many of wolves is actually pretty scary. He also was supply block, so he doesn't have the amount of units that he would have. Is going to try to pull the trigger here on the big surround. Is fighting a little bit prematurely with these 4 wolves. I think... Good micro over here by Diontep, pulling those archers back. But I really do think that Python should be able to hold this. It's still looking a little scary, yes, but the reinforcements are coming. We do have a potential worker pull as well at the same time. We have a potential for a surround from the backside as well. This feels like it should be a hold, especially considering how well that early game went. Here comes the wolves, here comes the surround, or at least the M10 to that surround. Looks like Diontep is going to find a very nice nook and cranny here to tuck himself into. Good surround more or less, but not quite ideal. Diontep is using the best, or doing the best as he can with this with his opponent Sim City. These soldiers are going to get surrounded, which is not ideal. He's going to try to flex them out, squeeze them out, and pull them back into this corner. But this is an excellent fight for Diontep. This really is. This SimCity working against Python for sure. And somehow this is actually doing a lot of damage. Yeah, I guess Python just letting his opponent get some good fights as he was going across the map. Letting his opponent get into a very good position here means that Python has not the best fight. And additional reinforcements coming in from Diontep, some soldiers and some archers. This is looking more and more dire, but we do have that first catapult out for Python. That is going to help shut this down a lot more easily. Diontep just continuing to produce more workers. Hasn't actually started the mages, so did go for the mage guild, but hasn't been able to use it just yet. And this Rax army is actually looking a little bit more scarier than it really is. Python is saying, I need to give this 3rd base up. Oh my goodness. How did Diontep get back into this is my question. How did that happen? Like, The early game was absolutely atrocious, but somehow this fight is working out for him. He's going to try to push into the natural base as well, might as well, but we do have that catapult, and as soon as he sees that catapult, I feel like he needs to be very careful, especially with that second one coming in. Oh no, this might be potentially horrendous. Python needs to target fire those archers. He's going to start doing that right now. Another archer falls. These wolves on hold position. That's a lot of splash damage here. And looks like Diontep might barely push in, but that's another big hit as well. Yeah, Diontep not doing the best job of defending. Just sniped down a catapult. Wasn't able to actually defend it or repair it in time. Another catapult shot. These workers being pulled hold position as well. Does need to try to target down everything here. Probably needs to try to target down the catapult. But the workers might be able to repair in time. This is going to looking pretty dire. Good target fire out of Python. Going to try to target down those archers. And with that additional catapult spawning in the backside, I think this might be a hold. Yeah, I think this is looking like a hold here. The archer numbers dwindling, the soldier numbers also dwindling. Looks like trying to do a little bit of friendly fire here with these soldiers. I do like that, but he's instead going to try to target down the archers. Very nice out of Python. And this push has been stopped. We have dragons on the way for Python. We have mages on the way for Diontep. A single mage is out. 3 mages on the way as well. If these mages had completed, and instead of the reinforcements being just soldiers and archers, if we had like these mages coming in, I think the game might be over. That would mean that he wouldn't be able to pull those workers for the repair, for the fight, or at least not as easily without taking a ton of losses. And that could have been game over for Diontep, but instead is going to be content with taking a 3rd base. And we're just going to head on from here. Interesting. So Diontep, you can kind of get a sense of how he likes to play. He likes to do this sort of mid-game push, deny the 3rd base sort of thing, it looks like. He's used that to great effect on Xenos, used it here as well, tried it on Silent Fjord as well, so you can kind of feel what his game plan is. We have these mages hitting the field at the same time. Fireball is, I believe, complete. Let's take a look. Yep, indeed it is. So he's going to be looking to do a big timing attack with these fireballs. Going to try to line up all the boys and surround as much, or not surround, and toast them all to flames. The first Dragon's Lair is complete along with the first dragon. Additional Dragon's Lair coming on the way for Python. I do like this catapult position on the high ground here. This is going to be able to rain down fire from the high ground. Fireball is used, going to get a whole bunch of damage on the wolves. But perhaps after seeing that catapult shot, he knows that his opponent is there, is going to rotate over to the back natural. I do think that's a pretty good idea, but we'll see if Python is able to read that rotation here. We have the first dragon finally starting to move for Python. Probably going to go across the map. This workshop being worked on. Fireball here, going to try to aim for... Ooh, barely going to actually hit the workers there. I didn't know that was possible, so very nice find out of Diontep here. Is forced to pull these workers is Python. But this is going to be a huge surround potentially. If Diontep is not aware of this, is going to see that the units are coming here. A fireball is used, but doesn't get as much damage as he would have liked. Here are some more fireballs. Looks like they're doing a little bit of a better job. Very nice. But these dragons going to come in, going to target fire the mage. Very nice. Instead, target fires the wrong mage now. It needs to target fire the high HP mage because obviously it has more energy. Sorry, not high HP, high mana points, MP, or energy, or whatever you want to call it. Looks like Python has more or less held this. Diontep looking to rotate to a different position. I do like that. We have a an advanced workshop on the way to deal with these dragons. These catapults looking to do a lot of damage, and I feel like they're running out of a lot of these spells, the energy here, and I think his time to shine has kind of come to an end. I feel like he needs to play a little bit more defensively after this because he's out of energy on 3 of these mages. Instead, Diontep is going to look to come in. This is a pretty big, good concave over here. A bit of a run by. I do like this. He's been doing a very excellent job of this throughout this entire series of doing this sort of run bys. Here's that fight into it, but the catapults are already here. A little bit of fireballs as he retreats, and he's going to look to try to do a little bit of friendly fire with the soldiers here, with the catapults. But I think, yeah, without the fireball energy, I think he needs to leave. And that's exactly what he's going to be doing right now. We have upgrades potentially on the way for Python. Hasn't actually started them. What happened to that dragon? These dragons are actually doing tons of damage. Sorry, I missed that. 2 dragons, 2 kills, excuse me, on these dragons. 3 kills now. And mages aren't that good against anti-air. Does need to wait for these ballista or these archers. Also, Diontep hasn't been too on top of his macro. It looks like most of his workers are at that 3rd base. A little bit of a run by. I do like this, but these dragons are doing so much damage uncontested. We have this ballista approximately 75% done. That's another huge volley onto those transferring workers. So far, we have 7 workers going down, and more dragons are coming in. This counterattack is doing a little bit of damage. Looks like there was no fireball, though. But with these wolves, he's going to be able to clean that up. And then here's those dragons just adding in that whole bunch of mobility, a lot of harassment. Gonna try to target down that Mage's Guild. I think that's a pretty good decision. But we'll see if he decides to target down the mages instead, and he does. I think that's also a very good decision. This Rax army coming in, taking down a little bit of damage. Does need, yeah, okay, losing these mages here is actually really huge here. Does look like Diontep did get a catapult, which is very nice. These dragons able to escape. Looks like he hasn't lost a single dragon yet so far, so very nice. Good choke position here for Diontep. Huge fireball. That did a ton of damage, but I think he's out of fireballs now, and that's going to be more or less it. These dragons able to heal up into the dead space as well. Going to look to do an assault on the 3rd base. Python also taking this space on the top side. A little bit of soldier run by into the 3rd base. Diontep's been really active with these soldier run bys, and I love it. But Python maybe, not quite learning his lesson. Could have just put down some towers on every single base. That would have been nice. But more workers falling for Diontep. So far, 15 have gone down. He's stuck. He's down at 17. That doesn't mean that the advantage here for economy-wise, at least, hugely in favor of Python, but that might be changing if these soldiers are uncontested for a long enough time. Is going to be aware of them right now and is going to pull them away. So far, these soldiers got, looks like a handful of kills, 7 kills in total, which is very nice. These dragons, yeah, this is that sort of thing I was talking about on this map for dragons and air units in general. Able to do a whole bunch of, what is this bird? Is this bird? Okay, this bird is stuck in the top. That's a bug that we're aware of, by the way. And these dragons have just been too much. They've just been able to do a huge amount of harassment damage. And Python has another base. That's his 5th base. We have a bit of a counterattack here, but I don't think that's actually going to be enough. Fireball onto the workers. Very nice. But see, Python is still doubling his opponent's worker count. The soldier eventually is going to be cleaned up. Workers from the main transferring over to the bases where there aren't enough workers. I think that might be it. Just Diontep, his economy has been just ravaged, and he has like no workers. He can't afford to be doing to be staying into this game for any much longer. He just needs to kind of win with the army he has, and his standing army isn't that good. He's lost all his mages, has 0 mages at the moment, so all that sophistication gone. And I think this just might be it. These dragons going to try to get perhaps a snipe onto the ballista. That looks pretty dangerous. Yeah, does get one dragon, which is nice. Explosive shot is not quite done though. And with the wolves coming in as well, I think this just might be it. Gonna try to target down these workers. At the same time, a bit of an attack over here with the wolves. I think that might be it. Dragons ravaging the third base mineral line, or the gold mine. These wolves targeting down the archers. Yeah. Even targeting down that ballista, very nice. Try to get rid of that anti-air. And that's it. That is the game. That does mean... Dun, 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 dun. There we go. This is what Beta League is looking like right now. Python taking down Diontep, and he's going to be able to face off against Joshua09 in the semifinals of the Beta League. We're still waiting on Nia versus Slammer, as well as Stephania versus Holy. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys had a lot of fun, and we'll see you in the next one.